movie stars and party in Maine. They're in our man said, I don't hear a single. The future was wide open. Into the great wide open. Under the skies of blue. Out in the great wide open. A rebel without a shoe. Into the great wide open. Under the skies into the great wide open. A rebel arm on you. A left arm on you. One more, huh? What do you think? Yeah, good things, baby Joe Dirt Car. Good things, good things, good things, good things. All right, pretty good, pretty neat, pretty neat. All right, pretty good, pretty neat, pretty neat. All right. Pretty good, pretty neat, pretty neat. All right. Deep. All right, I'm not into that one. I want to go something else. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this is beautiful. Oh, man, it goes right in your soul, and it says, are you a real human being? Do you feel love and empathy and kindness along with all that hate? Come on. Coexisting. Hate and love. Disappointment and success. Foot odor and you smell great. If she should come my way, always turn around, baby. Don't tell her I love her. Always. Nope, you can't come in. I have secrets. I'd love to see her. She's pretty. And I want to kiss her cheek. Is that okay? Does that make me bad? Don't tell her I love her, baby. Ooh. Right. See what I'm saying? This song's got a nice kick. To discover the color of my love. She will fly away.
Now you can try tenderness.
Oh, you could.
Try to hang
Around. Hey, everybody. AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. My name's Jim Dedelow. I'm the host of the morning show some of the time. And I am also the owner here of said radio station and the JED TV Sports Network. 9 high school football games on Friday night. Please don't tell her I love her. Let's see how it works out, huh? I'm about to like. Let's see how many of them can we get on the air. Ha, 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 hoo, 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 he. Anyways, I am going about part-time, half-time on the morning show, but today you got me, and I got a whole bunch of people, including Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, Chuck Pullen, same day, can you kid in? John Doherty. PNW today picks up again. They've been off for the summer. And they pick up, and then we have Mastering Local Marketing podcast. Would normally follow that, but it is not following it today. It'll be at 2 o'clock today. And then I have a bunch of other things going on, including the great city of Hammond putting in a water meter, and they're doing it in record time. So way to go. I thought it would take a while. And that's good work on them. And then at 5 o'clock, I'll be joining many other mourners in the Calumet region for the wake of Joseph Paulus. And I don't know what to say to that 55-year-old man. He and I went through the trenches together in putting the Calumet Press out for 2 years and 9 months. So the better part of 3 years, and we worked tirelessly to try to make that work. And then one day we realized it ain't working, and Joe went back to teaching, and I continued on, but can't believe he's passed. And that'll be tonight at 5 o'clock. If you remember Joe Paulus, he was the editor of the Calumet Press newspaper, 85,000 circulation once a week. It was crazy. And we had some really good times, but I don't even know what happened, and Joe is no longer with us. And anybody wants to call in that remembers Joe Paulus, I was going to do that next week, actually, and do a little Paulus segment. And he deserves it. Really, just a great guy, and I don't even know what to say. I don't want to get lost on that one. All right, I got to move on. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks okay. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman. Borman looks good kind of in the Lake County area. You know what I mean? And it is, but there's a problem in Porter County, and I guess they closed it for road construction between, I don't know, I-65 and exit 12, and that would be where it started, and then I don't know where it was closed until, but it was closed quite a while, all the way at least until maybe the Portage exit or more. So I-65 to Portage, I don't know, does anybody know if that's been opened? 219-845-1100, anybody coming from that way. And in terms of the weather, so that's all there is that really bad spot where they closed it for, I don't know if they're putting in a beam above the roadway or whatever. I do want to remind you guys that starting sometime here, even in the winter, it may be the spring by the time they get going, but one day you're going to see a bunch of cones on the Borman, and then they're going to start ripping it up. And the very first thing they're going to do is they're going to lay fiber cable all the way down from 394 to I-65. And so they'll be closing lanes to do that, and that should take a while. And then they're going to come back, and then they're going to work on opening some of the shoulder lanes and maybe repairing them, and they'll be closed again, some lanes. And then they'll be putting these big gantry signs every half mile that'll be able to tell you where to go. And They're going to kind of try to move the traffic along with data. You can go to indianaflexroad.com if you want to see how it's going to look. But when, I think there's like 17 of those gantry signs that they're going to put on the Borman. And so every time they do that, they're going to have to close it because you're lifting this massive billboard like White Sox, at the rate, the scoreboard, and it'll be put above the road every half mile. So it'll look like just amazing amount of signage pointing at you. And once they do that, they'll have to close it. I don't know if they'll have to close it 17 times or whatever, but they had to close it last night for something. I'm guessing that it's open now, but there's still some residual traffic. Does anybody know? 219-845-1100. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just go straight to some calls, whatever you want to talk about. But if anybody does have information on if that's open, it looks like it's pretty bad westbound, I don't know, from the Portage area all the way back to Ogden Dunes or Burns Harbor even. If you're coming towards Illinois, if you're going away from Illinois, which I can at times propose. But anyways, that'll be backing up from Ripley basically all the way to I-65. And so if anybody's coming or going on 94, that's a mess out in between I-65 and Ogden Dunes. All right, let's see how you guys, what's on your guys' mind this morning? 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Jimmy, hey, how about that dome you're sporting, bro? Hey, before all your guests come in, why don't you slap a little hand sanitizer on that thing? You're looking a little puffy.
You know, I took a shower, which is odd. I don't normally shower.
But it never hit your
I
head.
shower in the evening. What about you? You shower in the morning or evening?
Man, it depends on how my day went,
Yeah, so it's, I typically get up and go swim, but I just didn't feel like it this morning. So
I know somebody who saw you swim, by the way. Yeah, they ain't swimming, dude. That's called floating. They saw you, dude. You're exposed, okay?
Hey, did you hear about this new development in Arkansas?
The one with the Muslims?
No, it's exactly the opposite. That applicants are screened.
Bunch of you guys?
Applicants are screened, and you have to send photographs of your relatives. And all they really want in the community are white heterosexual people. And it's called Return to the Land. It's in Arkansas, and evidently they've got a lot of members that want to get into the community and live in a white-only environment. And, whoa, I don't even know what to say to that.
What do you mean? What do you mean, whoa?
Well, what's wrong with black people or Mexican people?
Nothing, but they seem to have their own communities, too. Like, go up to Michigan. Go up by Dearborn. You look like anything like a Catholic or a Jew, you ain't even getting in. They don't even want to talk to you. Unless you're wearing a robe and got a, what'd you call that, a suicide vest strapped to you with the Muslim religion, you're not allowed. Same over by Orland Park. Those little neighborhoods over there. I don't want anything to do with white people. What's the problem with them?
Well, I mean, I think that the issue here is that they put a lock on all the way around it, and you can't get in unless you are white and proven to be white and shown pictures of your relatives, like you can't have a black grandpa or something like that. And to some extent, that differs from, say, driving around Dearborn, and I've been there, and it is very Muslim, but you can also drive down pretty much any street you want to without, being told you can't go in there because you're white. So I think
but once you get in, they won't talk to you. They won't serve you a meal in a restaurant. How about that? How about the neighborhood in Atlanta?
Though. I mean, that's different than saying that we're building a community of just white people. And I don't think, and the reason that they're doing it and that there's so many people, so much interest, is the guy even says, he goes, well, in the climate that is today, we can get away with this. We couldn't have got away with it 10 years ago or probably 10 years from now. But they're like, the way it is now, we can do this. I mean, think about it. Think about your president last night saying that the Smithsonian Institute just concentrates on how bad slavery was. And, you know, I mean, it's a message out there right now that it's kind of okay to put together a white community or say that, well, you know, slavery wasn't that bad, man. Why do we got to concentrate on it? You know what I mean?
Well, who invented slavery, Jimmy?
I don't know. I think it goes back to BC, right?
Dude, it was invented in Africa by the African kings. They kept on fornicating and had so many kids and people, they wanted to get rid of them. They gave them away. Hey, and speaking of Atlanta, how about that neighborhood in Atlanta? Big old gated community. I think the minimum to get in is net worth like 1.7, 1.9 million, and you got to be black to get in that neighborhood, dude. No whiteys allowed. South side of Atlanta. Check it up.
All right. Well, would you send me that? I mean, because I've not heard
you're
that.
You're the media guy.
Oh,
you
wait, I love that.
remember?
No. That is not.
Yeah, you told me to do my homework.
That is not ever a
you do
comment
your
that
homework.
Can be made. No. Listen, it's a different world. It's a different world. If you have something that you're quoting that you cannot get into it unless you're black, then send it to me because I'd like to see it. Because this is the first. See, the reason that this is difficult to do,
Jimmy.
it's difficult to do either a black only or a white only, is that they have federal laws that prohibit discrimination based on race, which is what realtors used to do. They're like, oh my gosh, black person wants to buy this house, and oh, well, let's look over here.
And that's
Hammond,
why we got rid of DEI.
What does that mean?
That's why we got rid of DEI, brother. Affirmative action. That's why it went bye.
So what does that have to do with illegally keeping people out of your community against federal law?
Because that's what the libs did with DEI and affirmative action. That allowed people to hire people who they wanted to handpick and eliminate people by race, religion, color, or sex, and pick the people they wanted. That was like white men don't apply. That's why we got rid of that, Jim.
So white men were discriminated against.
In a huge way.
So white men were discriminated against. So is there a backlash going on now that white men should kind of assert their rightful place?
No, I think it's called, if you want something, be qualified, earn it, and be prepared to perform. Like your former Hammond police chief said live on the air one day, they go, well, don't you think you need more black guys or white guys or yellow guys or women? He goes, look, we get a stack of applications and we line them up based on qualifications. We need 10, we take the top 10. White, black, blue, purple, irrelevant.
You're all over the place. I'm not getting what that's related to a white-only community.
Well, if a white-only community, that's a separate subject. If that's what they got their money, they paid for their land. I mean, last time I checked, the Women's Garden Club of Highland, Indiana, ain't no men in that thing. But they can do that, can't they?
So,
right?
Are you okay with them having a white-only?
I think you're white.
Are you okay with them having white-only districts?
If that's what they like to do, that's what they like to do. If you don't like it, don't join. I think your wife is a member of the Hispanic bar of the state of Indiana, right? They ain't let any white men in there.
Try not to bring my family into it, but people are members of the Hispanic Bar Association. So,
yeah, but there is such a thing, right?
Yeah, but
are you good with that?
I mean, it's not like you can't join it if you're white or black or Asian.
Well, why would you join a group that says we're going to be the Hispanic Bar Association of the state of Indiana, knowing
That's not the point. The point is that you can join it if you want.
For sure. Then why is it called Hispanic?
It's just, I mean, there's all sorts of different coalitions of groups of religions and races and ethnicities. You know, the PRCUA, the Polish and the Puerto Rican. Everybody's got an association, and they've got groups, and they've got clubs. So
what's wrong with the white one?
Well, a white club to say, hey, I just want to be in the Ku Klux Klan, and we're a legitimate club. And
they're not talking about the Ku Klux Klan.
No, but hold on a second.
White.
That's different than saying you can't buy a house here because you're black. And that is specifically outlawed in America. That's you know, it was a big fight for 30 years. Now black people can buy a house wherever they want, and it was mostly black and Hispanics who were kept out of white neighborhoods, and they had to use the federal government to say, hey, you can't keep us out because we're black or Hispanic. And that's set in law. But so now the guy's saying that, well, we put this development out, and that because the Supreme Court is basically handpicked by Trump, if it goes to the Supreme Court, we'll win, and we'll be able to do white-only communities.
Weren't you a member of a country club that you had to have a net worth to get in there?
No, I wasn't.
Were you a member of Woodmar?
Yeah, for like 3 years, yeah, but it wasn't like you had to have a certain net worth. You just had to pay the money.
Oh, that's that country club on the East Coast where a couple senators are members of, yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're bringing, you know, you're putting forth that opinion, because I'm trying to figure out, A, if the guy's right, and we have reached a point in America where it's okay to, you know, basically say what you said, it's time for the white man to take his rightful place. No. I never said that. Never said that at all. Well, you were discriminated against, weren't you?
For a certain amount of time, yeah, but it's not white men take their place.
Well, what should it be for white men then? If white men were discriminated against,
it's everybody has the opportunity to compete if they have the ability and the qualifications to be in whatever they like to be involved in.
Well,
if you're a fireman,
that's like saying, you know, anyone can be president as long as you were born here. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, when you really talk about it,
yeah.
You know, if white men, and I think that it's difficult to talk about this part, is that I know many white men that feel as if they were somehow subjugated during, like, say, the Obama years or the Biden years, and that there was like 15 years of the white men. It was bad to be a white man. And then all of a sudden, now it's good to be a white man because Trump's in there and he's championing white men. And that's pretty well understood. So what does that mean? By you
guys, yeah. It's twisted by you guys with that thought process. Now it's just an even slate. If you want to be a fireman, you got to know how to climb a ladder, put a fire out. You got to have to do.
We've already gone through that. That is its merit, and I understand that. But what is the cultural attitude of what has shifted? Was it shifted like, all right, well, white men were discriminated against, we're going to get ours now? Or, I mean, how do you personally feel about the white man's place in society?
I just said it's not white man's place in society. It's a civil society where everybody is on equal footing. We don't like the LA Fire Department. What did they do? Let's see. You got a crazy lesbian running the city named Karen Bass, and what did she do? She put 5 lesbians in charge of the entire fire department. Now all of them are not in charge anymore because half the town is on fire and somehow miraculously got put out. Thank God.
Well,
that's what they did.
And I think this
and all my haters out there don't start.
So I think that the general shift is, people pretty well understand what has happened in terms of the shift toward the power of mostly white men in the last few years, okay?
Incorrect.
No, that is not incorrect in my mind.
That's
This is my
the liberal
opinion,
view.
okay?
Right, in your
and I
in
mean,
your
you get
mind,
a guy here, these two dudes that are saying, you've got a smoking gun case of intention. I mean, they were discriminated against, and that now that the world has changed, they can put together communities that are white only so that we can live without the interactions of blacks, Hispanics, and Asians. And it's okay to say that right now. I don't know as if they could have said that 5 or 10 years ago and still, kind of existed in society. But that movement is growing. And like for all these years, it's like, let's paint the world as it is, not as we wish it were. Nobody will talk about what I'm just bringing out, and nobody will admit to it, not even you. But there is an element of white men saying, hey, man, we were discriminated against. We're going to get ours now. And that is something
we were
that's
discriminated against, but we're not going to get ours. We're only going to do what we can earn and what we have the merit to do.
All right, well, I'm not talking about applying for a job. I'm talking about general cultural attitude. And I get it if you don't want to, go that far with it. Some do, at least privately, because once you start saying that, then it sounds kind of racist, and nobody wants to sound that way. But there are, we can't really move America forward together unless we all get open about, how we feel about things. And, here I would like people to be completely open. Like,
well, do you think they have the freedom to assemble to do that? Because down in Texas, they're trying to build a completely Muslim town. All Muslims, no Christians.
Okay, well, once again,
nothing.
just send me the information about it. But you see, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about a club where you say, all right, it's a Muslim American club, and if you got to be Muslim to come in it, that's legal. And the question
it's not
is,
a club. It's a whole community, Jimmy.
Right, no. You cannot in America. You cannot in America say there's a house next door to me. A black person can't buy it. A white person can't buy it. Only a Muslim person can buy it. Now, you could choose to just sell to a Muslim person. That's your right if you own it. But you can't put it out there that only Muslim people can live in this gated community.
That's what they're doing in Texas. They got it in Texas,
right,
bro.
Well, you're bringing up all this stuff that I don't, who knows if it's right or not, because you just send me it. You know where my email is? All you got to do. But anyway, thank you for the verbal jousting. I knew thank you, that it would, in the same day, I got a front page of the New York Times and several other media outlets is like, what is this place that is coming in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, that it's, and evidently there are others that are popping up that'll be white-only communities on the same day that President Trump said, what? That about the Smithsonian, that they focused too much on, quote, how bad slavery was. The remark made as the president has ordered a wide-ranging review of museum exhibits, adding to his pattern of minimizing black history. So just as we've been doing this together, all of us, for years, I think that we were, and Mad Mac, who's that caller right there, was pretty instrumental in this also, in that, say, 2015-ish, so about 10 years ago, we noticed a definite shift in America, and that really kind of pushed forward to get Trump elected. And one of those main shifts was that in the many unions that I know of, that many of them were moving toward Trump. And that wasn't predicted and we were able to kind of see what was happening. So what's really happening now in that same day that slavery wasn't, how bad was slavery anyways? And then, we're building our own white-only communities. Blacks, Hispanics, Asians need not apply, nor homosexuals. Now, is that the right to do that? I think it's illegal under the way we have you could change the federal laws, I suppose, but under the way it's la la dun do 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 lo lo do dee bum ba da 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 dun dun da dun da la lun dun da la lun dun. Do 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 lo lo do do.
It's time to move on. It's time to get going. What lies ahead, I have no way of knowing. But under my feet, baby, grass is growing. It's time to move on. Time to get going. Broken skyline, moving through the airport. She's an honest defector, conscientious objector, now her own protector.
Your name?
Yeah, broken skyline.
Hold on, you'll be right up.
Which way to love land?
Hey, your name?
Which way to something better? Which way to forget?
Oh man, I want to talk to you. Hold on.
Which way do I go? Yeah, it's time to move on. Time to get going. What lies ahead, I have no way of knowing. But under my feet, baby, grass is growing. It's time to move on. Time to get going. Sometime later, getting the words wrong, wasting the meaning.
Hey everybody, AM 1230 WJOB. We kind of I kicked off the radio for a second there, and that was very simply because I moved everything and I unhooked something, so I had to put it back in. I was getting all excited talking to Man Mac, and I went, and I moved things forward. Sorry about that. Hey, that's why they don't allow me to go and get involved in any of the camera or pre-production or site settings for football and volleyball and soccer, which are going on the JED TV Sports Network. They're like, we are sitting out there, and they had a meeting of all the people that are coming in, and we're getting all sorts of folks. I mean, if you send Sonny over to the Big Ten Network and you send Rob over to the Barstool, all of a sudden people are like, man, I should probably work there. So I appreciate everybody who's come. We're doing 9 football games tomorrow, and that would not have been possible if we're not on a university and that we are not developing, I guess, a reputation as developing talent. So I went into the meeting, and they're like, all right, everybody, this is the owner right here. And they're like, oh, there's the owner, JED TV. If he shows up at any of your sites, please understand that you have full authority to tell him to pound sand and get the hell out of there. So that's why, because I tend to go in and go, hey, what's this for? And then pull the broadcast off the air. But anyways, plenty of games on. Please download the JED TV app on your TV and on your phone and watch some football tomorrow night, all right? Don't forget, on Saturday, we'll have all of our games, the volleyball games, soccer matches, all that stuff, volleyball matches, soccer matches, football games, going forward next week. But next Saturday is a special broadcast, and we're going to try something new. And that is that Andrean has agreed to move their game to Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and we're going to go out and do a kind of a game day kind of celebration before the game. And I want to say thank you to the carpenters that are building us a special Central Midwest Carpenters, and the apprentices are building us a special, I guess it's kind of like a stage, but like basically a counter where we'll be able to host this thing, and you'll have plug-ins where all of the equipment goes. So we're pretty excited, and so should you be. That'll be 3 to 5 next Saturday. That's our first one. And since Andrean has one, Griffith wants one, right? So Griffith has one the following week, as we'll be at Griffith for a big tailgate and live production before the game. And I don't know who they play. I know that Andrean plays next weekend. They'll be playing Fort Wayne Lures. And then I don't know who Griffith plays that following Friday, but it's no doubt a big game, and we will be out there for, they're calling it Friday night kickoff or Saturday night kickoff. But anyways, 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford up the gut of the Southland. It's just got some slowdown at the merge, but not too much more than normal. Actually, not more than normal, actually less than normal. So go with the Bishop Ford if you want. Skyway Tow Road looked pretty good. Your problem is overnight road work on the Borman near the Lake and Porter County line in both directions. It's just horrific because they have closed that area. No one's called me in and told me if it's open yet, and Paul Goddard has not texted me on that. But it is in trouble. Anyways, that's where we're at. And terms of weather, what a beautiful morning. I was going to go outside today, but I just started talking to Mad Mac, and that'll preclude a lot of rational thinking. And it's right now 63 degrees along the Borman, 64 degrees at Labor's Local 41. And then at Plumbers 210 in Maryville, or is that Hobart? I should probably get a ruling on that. I'm pretty sure that's Merrillville. But anyways, it is 62 degrees. They're over there by trade winds and all that. And then at Ironworkers, 395, it is 61 degrees in Portage. Goes up to a high in the 70s most days going forward. So just a beautiful stretch of weather. Friday night football, please go to a game. Today your high is only 75 degrees along the Borman. Tomorrow it's 81. Sunshine mixing with clouds. Right at kickoff, it should be about 80 degrees and then drop to about 70 by the end of the football game. Saturday, same thing, a high of 82, partly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in spots. And then Sunday, mostly sunny, breezy, and not as warm. All right. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Yeah, hi. Couple things. You were talking to Mad Mac. One of the things, Martin Luther King called for a colorblind society. We're judged on our qualities, or the way, and not on our outside appearances. I think that was a great philosophy. And the other thing is, if we're going to sit here and nitpick about differences on people's surfaces like color of skin, that kind of thing, we're not going to get any place. Yeah, I've been married 38 years, and if me and the wife sat around and started going after each other over every little slight, every little thing that has happened to us over the years, guess what? Our marriage probably wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes. And that's, to dwell on this kind of thing is so negative, so anti-productive. All it does is stir up animosity on both sides, and it's completely unproductive. We need to move past this. We can't dwell on what happened in the past. We're never going to get any place in this society. In fact, we'll destroy it.
What about setting up a white-only community? Is that nitpicking?
Well, guess what? I'm of mixed ethnicity. I'm married to someone of a different race. And, yeah, I grew up in that. In fact, I think I'm older than you are. I grew up in the bad old days. I was discriminated against. My dad couldn't even buy a house in the neighborhood we wanted. You know, I was, you know, you get in the wrong neighborhood where I came from, guess what? You better know how to fight. And guess what? I got past that. We got to get past it. If we dwell on this kind of thing, all it does is stir up more negative crap. I won't even say it. But that's all this does. It's not productive. If we're going to get any place in the society, we have to come together. We're all living here in the same place. I remember that movie Apollo 13, where after the oxygen tank blew up, everybody's freaking out. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? But one of the astronauts said, guess what? When it's all over and done with, we're trapped in this little can together, and we either get along with each other, we're going to kill each other. That's just how it is.
So, I could not agree with you more, but I'm starting to feel as if the content of what you're saying I agree with entirely. I'm almost kind of tired of people just kind of hating on each other and nitpicking, as you say.
Well, let's stop.
No, but you see, here's the thing. Right now, it is getting worse.
How do you figure it's getting worse? Like I say, it's not as good as it was 15, 20 years ago. Granted, it has taken a negative turn because of all of this kind of nitpicking, all this kind of pointing fingers, that kind of thing. Because it's been obsessive. That's all I hear anymore in our popular society is you're this and I'm that and I can't get along with you. Well, guess what? That does not end well. Simple as that.
So
it
what's
ain't
the
rocket
solution?
science. What the solution is to move on, get along. To like Mad Max said, if we're going to get along in society, it's got to be based on merit and quality of a person, not based on you got to have somebody of this or I got to say that or this and that and this happened 300 years ago. Every society in the world is oppressed another society. There ain't nobody with clean hands in this world.
So, all right. So, if we are having discord in our hearts and
Why are you
the
having
inability,
discord in
hold
your
on,
heart?
and the inability to get along, your solution is to not talk about it?
My solution is to grow up. My solution is to actually move on, live your life, do the best you can with what you got. You are going to run into idiots in this world. There's no shortage of that. But if you're going to let every dumb, well, I won't even say that either, every idiot that ruffles your feather gets you all upset so you can't sleep at night, you got a problem.
Thank you for not saying
about
it.
them. I don't care.
I know what you were going to say. Thank you for not saying
well,
it.
what's going on in Ukraine right now, or even in Gaza, is based on thousands of years of hate among people. That's where it goes. I mean, if you want to take it that way, that's where it goes. But if you're going to have any kind of decent society where people can get along, and it ain't never going to be heaven. But if you want that, you got to get past this.
So right now, there is a society that wants to preclude all blacks and Hispanics from living in their community. They don't want it.
Who's that? Where's this at?
It's in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas.
Well, you dug one up someplace. Well, guess what? If people feel that way in the Ozarks, let them sit on it, because I would never even want to associate with people like that.
Well, I understand that.
You can't get rid of that, Jim. I don't care what you do. You're never going to get rid of people. There's going to be idiots in this world. There's nothing you're going to do about it.
What about Trump's comment about the Smithsonian?
Well, everything Trump said.
Hold on. You see, here's the thing, is that there is discord, and I agree with you that I'm basically just flat out tired of it and tired of talking about it. But it's still there, and it is growing in the openness about it.
I don't understand how you feel that way.
Hold on. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing about the openness. Like when Trump says, why do we got to concentrate on how bad slavery is? Well, slavery was pretty bad. Should we not talk about it, I guess, or think about it? And I think that's what you're saying, is like, let's just man up and not talk about it. And I
Can you
think that's
name one
dangerous
society
too.
in the world that didn't practice or was subjected to slavery? Can you even name one?
Okay, so because there has been slavery throughout history, it legitimizes slavery in America?
I didn't say that.
Okay,
That's
well,
nothing
that's
at
where
all
that
what I said.
goes.
I said this is reality. Every culture has been guilty of things. Japanese used to, when they went into Nanking and China, they were bayoneting babies and that kind of thing. I mean, this kind of thing goes on in history. But if the Japanese and the Chinese are going to dredge that all up and obsess over it, guess what? There's going to be a war. I mean, that's where this goes. I mean, we either get over this stuff and we grow up and we try to get along in this world. That's what the UN was actually based on, to get everybody to try to get along without killing each other, or we're going down that road again. Human history's got a history of this kind of thing. We either get past it, or we're going to be actually dragged into it.
All right, man. Hey, thanks. I love talking to you. Hey, you're on the air.
My. Jed.
I'm here.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
listening.
Oh, I'm probably gonna back away from talking on WJOB because it's getting really tough. It's getting really tough, and what I'm hearing here right now, I'm hearing you talk about where I was born in Arkansas, and it's not surprising. But when I talk about the Little Rock Nine, and I talk about stuff like that, people say, there you go again. Well, I'm just telling you where I came up from, and when Eisenhower had to send troops in there, and it hadn't got any better since then. Yes, but there you go. So why would I, what's the point of me coming on and talking about what happened to history? If you want to talk about history, not that I'm reliving history. I mean, I'm saying I'm not going back to what happened to me. I came on your radio station one time, and when I went into the studios and I talked about what I did, people said, "Oh boy, that was the terriblest thing I ever heard. You should not even let that guy come on there." And it's sad. And then when you ask a guy like Mad Mac if that's his name, I don't know if that's his real name. They use phony names, and when he say to people, cuss them out, kiss his rear end. You don't say kiss his rear end. He said that about Burley. Kiss his. You know what I'm talking. ASS. I'm not gonna say. When you allow stuff like that to go on, and this guy now he's supposed to be on I think he's supposed to be on one day next week with another host. So this is a guy that you want represent your radio station. I'm just saying. I'm just about to back away.
Slow down, Ron.
I'm about to back away.
Let's consider the issues here of what's really going on in America and in Indiana. I mean, I'm not the issue, and the radio station isn't the issue, and free speech isn't even the issue, because we have pretty good free speech here, and this is probably one of the most open discussion available in America on the radio. So I don't know, I'm not doing anything different that we haven't done for 101 years. What is different is the discord and the inability to get along, as the last caller noted, and everybody kind of agrees on that, and you have agreed on that. Now, is it getting to a point, and I understand, especially today, because today is the day where it's one day after President Trump said, why do we got to concentrate on how bad slavery was? And it's coming out that there's a white-only community popping up in Arkansas. I understand how you could feel about it, but I'm not the problem. What the problem is however you define it and you want to go at it. So let's go that direction. And basically, leave the platforms out of it for now, okay? But there is something going on in America, in Indiana, right? So what is it? Mm-hmm. What's happening? Why is Trump say that? Why do we got? All right, let's look at that comment. Why do we got to concentrate on how bad slavery was? What does that comment represent to you?
Well, I'm just saying we can fix that. We can fix what happened. I mean, we don't need to go back what happened. I don't know. I didn't live the time. I did live under Jim Crowism, where Jim Crowism were a separate thing. I did live under that, but it wasn't total slavery. And then when we came about, we said, well, we're going to have basically where black people are free, Juneteenth, and people found the problem with that. You know, did it happen? Yes, it happened. You know, and but let's move on. And I talk about that all the time. That's one reason why I say I'm getting a little tired right now, and I think I'm going to stop because it's not doing. I'm not trying to change the minds of those people who call into that radio station. It's basically 6 or 7 who do that. And every time, of course, when I say something going on, it's like, okay. So, well, I mean, I got better things to do, Jed.
Okay,
I really
we
have.
established that, Ron, and I'm okay. It is what it is. I'm just going to do what I was taught, and that we've been doing for 101 years. I'm asking you to get off of that, and that's it. But there's an issue in black-white relations and brown-white relations. That is where I would like to have the discussion going.
But it's people like Mad Mac, if that's his name. I don't know what it is. People like that. I think you mentioned he's talking about this DEI and all this stuff. And I mean, I believe that if a person is qualified, I don't care what color he is, you know. But we know that is not the case. And I believe right now, and every time that I say something, and you just said what Trump said here lately, and see, I think sometimes it's a person. In other words, Donald Trump. Sometimes I have to turn off the television. I'm sick and tired of it. I want somebody. I think a president ought to take the lead in trying to bring people together. I really believe that, and I don't.
Do you really think that's happening right now?
I don't think I think it's getting worse. Okay, no, I don't think it's happening.
Now we're getting somewhere. You think it's getting worse? What is getting worse?
You're saying it's getting worse.
All right, I know it's getting worse.
Agree, and I agree with you. It's getting worse. The reason it's getting worse, if we look here in the state of Indiana, our governor, right now, he's basically taking the same thing, orders from Donald Trump in terms of the state of Indiana. You know, I'm seeing where they're trying to. I just think I heard you say having people that they can't vote. I mean, they have no mail in anymore. You know, depriving senior citizen people who can't get to the post. I mean, it's just getting worse. I mean, you got a president and a governor is there, and it's a sad day. And that's one reason why I say I think I need to get away from. I don't hear this on another radio station locally.
You know what? I'm not gonna do that. Do you understand that? We talk here, and we've been doing it for 101 years. And if you want to denigrate what is happening here at WJOB, you can do that, but don't do it on my own airwaves, okay? I've asked you to do that 3 times. I fully respect your opinion, and I want to hear it. But,
But
this is something that is, it just goes on.
I'm saying, I want to bring. Hopefully, I could do anything to bring in people together. When I hear people like sick in this community, like in Mad Mac, and I want to help people like that. I don't care what color. We all, as he say, we all have the same color blood, red. You know, and I want to help people. That's what I'm concerned about, helping people.
We all have the same color, blood red. Okay, and I get that.
Yeah.
What I am kind of at the end of my wits about is how is it gotten to where we can't even talk to each other? You know what I'm saying? And
like I said, I think our leaders, our leaders ought to, and what I mean by our leaders, and I think it starts in Washington. I think it starts in Indianapolis. I think they will be the one to do that. I don't think you or I could do that. I think the things that you're saying that, hey, we need to come together. And I'm gonna say this as what's this guy from L.A. say? Can we all just get along? And I thought that
is not the case. Hold on, what did you do to change me? There you go.
Yeah. I don't think I could change it. I don't think you could change it. Okay. And I believe that you're a decent person and you'd like to, but I don't see it coming. You don't see it coming either. So
listen,
with that,
all we can do, Ron, is that we can talk about what is really there. And I think that a lot of people do not want to talk about what is really happening.
oh, okay.
And I don't,
Okay.
I can't even figure it out right now. Did you see last night, that Micah Beckwith, the lieutenant governor, was here the other day? I met the guy. I was like, hey, he's a golfer. I'm a golfer. And I'm not really sure what the discord is about Micah Beckwith, but he goes to a town hall last night. And these two, I think one of them at least was a woman, and they were heckling him about his stances. And they wound up arresting two people at one of his town halls, and I guess it got pretty raucous. And I think that is just a kind of a sign of the times, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It was just like people can't even have a town hall. Hold on, do you keep turning this up? Yeah, all right, let's keep it down right about there. Is that okay? And you look it up, and it happened late last night. I'm like, gosh, how can people just not even get together and talk about the issues without major disturbance and people getting tackled and arrested? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Hey, Ron,
terrible.
I understand where you're talking from, and I understand your frustration.
And I'm sorry. And I'm sorry if I offended you, but I'm just tired. I'm tired, and like I say, if you don't hear me calling in anymore, I'm just tired. It's nothing there to do.
You know what? You will call in just to talk to me because we've been doing it for 20 years. All right, man. I will talk to you.
I got your number. I can talk to you when, other than on the radio.
Sounds good, man. All right. Good talking to you. Thanks. How are you, Lynette? Thanks for coming in. You're not on, but that's okay. Hey, let's take one more phone call. And I don't know what happened with the people that were supposed to call in, but take one more phone call. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Jed. How are you?
Good.
If Ron wants to get off the radio, let's just let him get off the radio. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. But anyways, what you were talking about earlier is, what I think a lot of people are saying is you cannot fix the sins of the past by just rehashing them, okay? Most people, okay, agree that slavery that happened and maybe is currently happening, I have no clue, is appalling, okay? Most people agree that that's morally wrong, all right? Most people agree that for a group of individuals to say this town is only for certain color people is morally wrong, okay? So you have a silent majority that agree that something is morally wrong, and then you have a handful of drum pounders that are basically just screaming to the hills that it's okay. You cannot fix somebody who is just dead set in their ways, and that's also what Ron is saying. It's like if somebody is dead set in their ways and they're willing to lie to try and prove their point, you cannot fix that. Okay? But you do have to remember that just because everybody isn't out there marching around saying this town that's, trying to form an all one race community is wrong, that doesn't mean that everybody thinks it's right. You know what I mean?
I'm listening.
The other thing is, it's one thing that's a little bit disheartening is it seems like when certain things happen, it's like a spur point for basically like, let's talk about this, okay? So you got this community and wherever, they want to form an all-white community, and it's news, right? But let me ask you a question. There's blatant racism all over that nobody talks about. For instance, scholarships that are handed out to a race-specific community. okay, has nothing to do with academics, has nothing to do with achievements. It's based upon a race. And I'm not saying it's a white race. I'm not saying it's a black. I'm saying it's all based upon a race. Okay? A hiring at a job that is based upon a race. That is also morally wrong. But nobody wants to talk about that. No one, that doesn't make the news anywhere.
Right, man.
You know, and
by the way, you're talking about it right now, and I appreciate you being open about your opinions. You see, one of the things I thank you. I let you talk. Hold on. I got you. You see, what you're talking about are very sensitive things to talk about. Whether you agree with what you said or not, it's very difficult to talk about it rationally. It's okay to go on social media and just sit in your underwear in your basement and blast people, which people from all races do, and they do it anonymously a lot, and it takes absolutely no courage. What takes courage is Ron Matlock to call in and really express the pain that he's had, and he's shared it with us. It takes courage for you to stand up and say, here's how I see it, and you know, your voice, and here's who you are, and that takes courage to communicate in such a way you're disgusted how things are going in America. But what I think is contained in all of the callers today and all the callers that I normally take and all the comments and so forth is a general disgust of what is happening. And now I've never felt that. I was here in the 80s. I've done stuff all the way for 40-some years. I have never felt it as bad as it is right now. Now, in a weird way, as difficult as that is to manage, the actual talk, it also represents a hopeful point in that if everyone's disgusted, then perhaps we will start looking for some solutions and for our common grounds and for ways to be a better country and a better society. You almost have to get to that point of just complete disgust. And I think we're kind of there. That's my point, and that's how I feel these days.
Well, I think that, okay. But what I guess my point is, Jed, is there's a lot of disgust, but what I think a lot of people are also saying is you're talking about a small portion of a very large sample, okay? And, man, we're wasting a lot of energy on a small portion of a very large sample.
Okay, but here's the issue. Is it really a small portion? In other words, is Ron Matlock a small portion and is Mad Mac a small portion? I don't suspect that's the case. I believe there are many people that are very much in line with the way Mad Mac thinks, and there are very many people that are very much in line with the way Matlock thinks.
See, that's the thing, though, Jed. I think that Ron Matlock and Mad Mac, I think that they probably both agree that the color of one's skin doesn't matter much at all.
There you go. You see, that's what I'm talking about. It's called HOPE. Honestly, I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm a trained sociologist, and I'm like, back in the day, and all they train you to do is to notice trends and see what's happening. That's all your schooling is. And what I'm saying here, sitting here, going into sports season, which is much more fun, is that I think it's gotten to a point where people don't want, people are just so disgusted that they'll pretty much do anything to kind of get out of the disgust. Hey, man, I got to go. Hey, I got to go. Thank you. Can you hang up on that one? And Hammond Maritime McDermott's here. He's up next on the Voice and Face. You know how to play a spot, right? Nope. All right. We are going to do some on-air training of Lynette Lopez because we are on the campus, and this is how people eventually go to Barstool, right? So the very first thing is bring up the music. We'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region.
Is your engine running? Is that bridge getting built? Are your hands getting filled? Won't you tell me, my brother? 'Cause there are stars up above. We can start moving lost in my mind, lost in my mind. Oh, I get lost in my mind. Lost, I get lost, I get lost in my mind. Lost in my mind, yes, I get lost in my mind. Lost, I get lost, I get lost. Oh, I get lost. Oh, I get. Mother, don't worry, I killed the last snake that lived in a creek bed. Mother, don't worry, I've got some money I saved for the weekend. Mother, remember being so stern with that girl who was with me. Mother, remember the blink of an eye when I breathe through your body. So may the sun rise, bring hope where it was.
AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. Mayor, how are you? So she can adjust your volume.
I'm good. Thanks, Jim.
All right, yeah, he's on yellow. On yellow, he's a little bit low there. Anyways,
Yellow.
there you go. That's much better. Hey, 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. The Bishop Ford, a little bit lighter than normal. You are having road closures. And did I leave my phone over there? Paul Goddard told me all about it today. And this is what's going to be happening. First of all, the Borman's going to be ripped up for 3.5 years starting in the fall. We'll talk a little bit about that with the mayor. Or starting in the winter. But Goddard tells me this. He says, take a look that they're going to be closing the Borman due to a number of things going on between Central Ave and US 20. They're going to not have any access to I-94. I-94 is going to be reduced to one lane using ramps at US 6 and 51 to continue eastbound or westbound around the bridge demolition work. That's what they're doing. They're ripping out a bridge, and you can't ride under a bridge that they're ripping out. So Indiana Toll Road is the exit from the Borman is also closed. So if you're down to one lane on the Borman, you can imagine, and that was backed up for several miles this morning. I'm hoping that it opens, but it might just be like that all day long. That's your traffic you got to watch out. I went to the Indiana Flex Road meeting, so that I could talk to you guys about what's going to go on the Borman. I don't know about this construction, and maybe I'll get Goddard, he's on vacation, to call us maybe tomorrow. But in terms of the weather, what a beautiful weekend. It's not going to be that hot. The humidity has come out, and we needed it because that was a lot of rain. Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, how are you?
Morning, Jim.
Just before we get to some of the other topics, I went to that Flex Road thing, and they are going to have major construction on the Borman for 3.5 years. How is that going to affect Hammond?
Well, I mean, obviously, anytime they work on the Borman, it affects Hammond greatly because all the traffic that avoids the Borman ends up traveling through our city on roads like 173rd, 165th, 169th. I know it affects Munster and Highland in the same manner on Ridge Road, Gary, I guess, as well. So anytime that's happening. I got the packet. I didn't go to the presentation like you did, but I got the packet, and it's interesting what they're doing. They're going to have certain lanes that are flex. They can go both directions depending on the flow of traffic, and they also have status boards above each lane so that if there's a wreck, they can tell you way before you get there to move lanes and stuff like that. It looks like a pretty big expansion. And it also, you know, this whole debate about toll roads, Jim, that's what I was thinking about when I got that packet. I was looking at how easy it would be to convert that into a toll road, the way they're making all the signs above the lane and all that. They could easily turn that into, you know, the tolling where it just hits you as you drive underneath it, if they're going that direction.
Well, they had roughly, I don't know, 12 people from NDOT there, and one of the tow trucks, I think it was a guy from WAFCO Towing, said, well, it looks like you could just hang something there and toll everybody. And the head of it, nice. Yeah, and the head of it said, oh, we're not going to talk about that. We don't want to go that. And then everybody in the whole crowd said the same thing. It's
That's
like,
crazy. I said the same
all
thing.
All you're doing is you're making this a toll road. You could easily just toll everybody now that you...
That's crazy. You had the same thought. I'm glad to hear that, because as soon as I got it, I'm like, they're definitely turning the Borman into a toll road. If the way they're doing this looks exactly like the toll plaza you drive underneath.
So it is it's one every half mile from 394 to I-65, and they gave the dimensions. It is basically like a guaranteed rate billboard every half mile. Right. So they're like, when you're looking at the one in front of you, you'll be able to see the next one and the next one. And they're massive, and each time they got to set one, they got to close the Borman. Wow. So that's at least 17 times. Can you imagine what your city's going to look like on 173rd?
They'll probably do it at like 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, instead of 10
o'clock
at night.
It was a little late, so I think we're going to do it right now at 6:30. Let's close the Borman.
Right,
but that is coming, and that will be something that we all have to deal with in terms of infrastructure. You've been dealing with some major infrastructure issues with the 8.2 inches of rain that came to the Robertsdale and North Hammond section. There is a lot of concern about the sheen that was on 121st. There's actually Munster last night was dealing with a sheen in the cobblestone area. What do you see happening in and around BP that affects the city of Hammond?
I have no idea how BP ended up having a problem during the flood. I don't understand how their plant works. I mean, obviously we've been dealing with the damage and the flood in Hammond. I know that the BP is a totally separate issue that's affecting Whiting and to a certain extent Hammond neighborhoods as well. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not an expert on what's going on with BP. It seems to me, though, from where I sit, that we've had 3 problems in a year, 3 massive BP problems that have affected the neighbors and affected the city and it's affected the region. So that's no good. But I'm not sure how having a flood relates to what happened at BP, if it relates at all. But obviously it compounded an already bad problem. We're sitting there trying to deal with flooding, and then all of a sudden BP starts smelling like it's about to go up in flames again. You know?
Well, yeah, they basically had to burn everything off, which outside of the fact that everybody loses a ton of money and there's major danger, it's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see in the region when all the flares are lit at BP at nighttime as they were. So we got all this rain, and where was the worst part of flooding in Hammond?
Probably North Hammond again. North Hammond got it last time too. If you look at the pattern, it was really concentrated. First off, north of the Borman, Hammond, Whiting, East Chicago, Gary got it the worst. So you talk to Highland, Griffith, they didn't nearly get it as bad as we did. So it was a storm that stayed along the lake and went across. I was at Wrigley on the doubleheader. We were supposed to be at the second game, and it got called. And we went up, got to the game. It was a 7:00 game, and it started raining at that time. It was a monsoon in Chicago, and the storm was coming our way. So we drove home in a monsoon, and I got here about 10 minutes before the storm hit, and we knew because we'd just driven out of it. It's like we were going to get nailed in the region, and it was just as bad as it was in Chicago. And we got 5 inches of rain that night. 5 inches, Jim. I don't know if we got 5 inches of rain all summer. We got it overnight, and we had 3 inches. If you remember, we had a summer concert series on Saturday that got rained out. So it started raining on Saturday to Sunday, and we got 3 inches of rain there. So we were sopped already. So we get 8 inches of rain basically in 2 days. And obviously it led to a catastrophe. It was just too much water. So we put out a post. I knew going to bed Monday night we were going to have problems. We were already flooding, and we had about 6 hours of rain in front of us still. So I was just like, I'm going to get my ass kicked. I'm going to get my butt kicked tomorrow. That's not a word.
The mayor has a podcast called Left of Center Podcast. By the way, hold that wire for a second, will you? It's kind of rattling. There you go.
Sure.
And you can get it, and on the internet. And he can swear on that, and often does, like the sailor that he is. But we've trained each other well that when you walk through those doors,
that wasn't bad.
You have never left an F-bomb here.
Last show I said a bad word. It was the S word, but
yes,
I was like, that was the worst I've ever done on JOB.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising because
I know
in normal conversation, you may resort to vulgarities at times. I mean,
often
that is kind of learned on a ship or a submarine, I'm sure, and it's hard to bring that out, but please don't do it now because I don't want any fines.
But when I talk to kids, I'm always good too. There's a switch in my head that gets turned off. But anyway, so I go to bed Monday night, and I knew it was going to be a bad day Tuesday. And when we woke up, the rain had finally stopped at that point. And I just immediately, I get fact sheets after every storm. I get fact sheets after a murder. I asked for the fact sheet that morning, and I got it, and it was devastating. And I basically just put it right out. I cleaned it up a little, put it out on social media. I think last time I checked, it was over 100,000 people saw that post, which is awesome. I love it when we get a good post like that because it was factual, and it said, hey, we did everything we could. Like, everybody was working. Every pump was turned on. Everything was operating at peak efficiency. It's like we had too much rain. It hit us all at once. We were already sopped. We got 5 inches overnight. We didn't have 5 inches all summer, and we get it on one day. You can't. By the way, if you look at that map also, Jim, keep in mind the Hammond Sanitary District that processes our rainwater, our communities are Whiting, Hammond, Highland, Munster, and Griffith. Almost everybody in our service territory got slammed by that storm. And all the water that's getting slammed into that service territory comes to one place, the Hammond Sanitary District. So we had the whole service territory get hit all at once. All that water comes rushing into Hammond, and our plant is sitting there. It's rated at 70 million gallons. It was doing 170 million gallons overnight, which is basically take the water, put it through our CSO basin on Columbia Avenue, and then ship it right into the river. And that's no good. We're not treating the water. We're literally just trying to get the solids out of the water. And it's better for us. It's a CSO event. We have to report that to the federal government. We have to report that to the state. But we said, fine, we're doing a CSO today. We dumped as much as we could into the CSO basin, and then it just flowed right into the river. So I wouldn't go swimming in Lake Michigan yesterday. I probably wouldn't even go swimming in Lake Michigan today because I'm sure it's might be getting back to normal by now. And if that was happening to us, Chicago was doing the same thing. East Chicago, Whiting overflowed into. That's another thing. Whiting has an overflow basin. This is beautiful, Jim. It overflowed, and I'm sure you heard this, and it blocked the CSX tracks in Whiting. It was literally, they couldn't get trains through. And this is one of the rare times I was really happy that they were calling us up. Hey, CSX is like, hey, we can't move our trains. You guys got to do something about that water. And we're like, we'll get to it. It's the first time in my life I've ever been able to tell a train, hey, relax, dude. We got things going on here, right? But
if you guys don't know the backstory, I think the mayor has come on the air and I think you've exhibited a lot of frustration with the train stopping in Hammond and not being able to address it because the trains are kind of written into the laws and they can do pretty much whatever they want across your community. But now they couldn't run that CSX train. So what do you want to tell the people of North Hammond?
Well, of Hammond is, if you look at what's going on in the world, these extreme weather events are happening. And we don't have fires in the region. We don't have hurricanes in the region. We get these intense storms, and they're too much for us to handle. It's too much for any plant to handle. That plant is fine. 70 million gallon plant, it works just fine. 364 out of 365 days a year. And then we'll get that storm that's 8 inches over 2 days. There's no plant. We could have had our plant's 70 million gallons. Let's say we changed it to 100 million gallons, which is that's almost a 50% increase in capacity. If we change that plant to 100 million gallons, that would cost hundreds of millions of dollars for us to do that. And so let's say we did that. We made our plant 100 million gallons. We spent hundreds of millions of dollars. Hammond had to increase our rates for all of our customers massively to deal with this 50% increase in capacity at the plant. Let's say we did all that 10 years ago, and we were sitting here in that storm with a 100 million gallon plant. We would have still flooded. We would have still flooded, Jim. We would have flooded bad. We had twice that coming at us. These storms you can't, when they hit us like they do, there's nothing we could do. We were literally bypassing the plant, dumping right into the river. That's a federal event. We have to record that with the Clean Water Act and with the federal government. So I flooded I guess it was a while ago now, probably a decade ago, in my basement. And I had a nice finished basement, and I lost everything in there, carpet and everything. I'd never rebuilt it. I was like, because I know, it's like, this is going to happen again. And thankfully it hasn't happened since then with me, but I stopped developing my basement. And, we all grew up with finished basements, and everybody, that was an extra living room. You're taking a big chance nowadays with a finished basement. I don't care where you live. If you have a finished basement and we hit one of those storms, there's little that the municipality, there's little that the district can do to protect you. And that's just the fact, Jim. I mean, and there's things that you could do locally to help protect your house. You could put in the check valve. We have a program through the Hammond Sanitary District where they put a backflow preventer in your basement. I did not do that yet, believe it or not. It costs like $3,000, and that's usually what keeps people from doing it. But it's a check valve. For anybody that knows what a check valve is, it allows water only to go one way. You can't go. So if you put this check valve in your basement where the water backs up, the water could go into the system, but it can't get from the system into your basement. We have a program that helps people do this in their basement, and when they do it, fixes the problem, but it's $3,000. So a lot of people don't have that kind of money sitting there, and they're playing Russian roulette. I saw on the news last night one of my constituents with a beautiful finished basement, and he's like, everything was ruined. And it's horrifying for me. It's horrifying, but there's nothing we could have done to change that, Jim.
What about Hessville?
Hessville got it too. I mean, it was a spotty storm. We got it all over. But, I haven't seen the flood map from this one yet. We're still taking data. When I see the flood map on this one, you're not going to see it in one place, though. It's going to be scattered. Seems like it's concentrated in Robertsdale, North Hammond. There's a concentration up there, but it is definitely scattered across the city. This one was basically citywide.
So, is there basically nothing that can be done at this point if we get another rain like that? I mean, is there anything that we learned from this situation that we could apply to another 8-inch rain? Although, from what I understand, it hasn't rained 8 inches in like over 100 years in Robertsdale. But
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So one of these old timers sent me a thing of that was literally 100-year rain. But are you confident that the infrastructure of the storm and the sanitary sewers can handle the water that could come to us? Or is it just if we get another 8-inch rain, it might happen again?
If we get another 8-inch rain, it probably will happen again, Jim. Okay? But we usually don't get 8-inch rains. We get 8-inch rains once every decade. But when it happens...
100 years from what the guy was showing me, yeah.
But yeah, okay, so let's go back to my analysis that said, okay, we're going to change our plant to 100 million gallons. Just looking at the plant, honestly, we've looked at how much water plants cost. So sanitary plants, if we want to increase our capacity by 30 million gallons, I don't know, it's at least 100 million. It's at least. If you were just doing maybe a separate plant that's 30 million gallons. So we have two plants right by each other, right? So let's say we spent 100 million just doing that. We'd also have to change the infrastructure because underneath the streets and across the 300 miles of roads, we have certain size diameter stormwater pipes. And if we need to make those larger across the entire city, how much does that cost, Jim? If we have 12-inch diameter pipes and it's limiting how much water we can accept, so we want to go to 18-inch across the entire city, I mean, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars if we were going to do that, all right? And this plant's been there since, God knows when it was built.
I don't mean to geek out on the sewer part, but obviously as a laborer, that was what I did, was install those, mostly storm sewers, but sanitary sewers at times. And what I just remember digging up in Hammond is that a lot of it's very old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you're carrying the water to a brand refurbished Hammond Sanitary District. My daughter worked there. I understand how well it works, and I went over before they filled up the big basin. I took a little tour of it.
Nice.
I'm kind of, I guess, into it a little bit. I played golf with Mark Grimmer the other day. That's all he does is sewers, and we talked about that. I just wonder if, in the end, is this something that we should learn from, or is it just, we have to maybe not fix our basements up and understand that this? I mean, does it go back to the change in the climate?
Oh, no doubt about it. In my opinion, I mean, but that's arguable too, because I'm sure there's certain listeners that would call in and say, "You're crazy, Mayor. There's nothing going on with the planet. You're just making that up." Okay? Because unfortunately, we're dealing with that kind of issue in America too. We can't even agree if the storms are worse. We can't even agree if things are changing weather pattern-wise, which is ridiculous. Because I'm 56 years old and I see it with my own eyes. Nothing empirical, but. So, yeah, I think definitely the weather patterns are changing, and it's making our storms more intense, and we may have to have this debate in the Hammond Sanitary District one day if it becomes a common problem. We haven't flooded. I remember the last time we flooded real bad. I was at the Bears Tampa Bay game, and this sounds bad. Every time something bad happens, I'm at a sporting event apparently. But I was at Tampa Bay, and I got the phone call, "We're flooding, Mayor," and that's the worst phone call you can get. Because nobody's happy when it floods. Nobody. My wife would be mad at me if it floods. So everybody gets mad at the mayor. Everybody assumes we did something wrong. Everybody assumes you left a valve shut. Everybody assumes we forgot to turn on a pump. None of that is true, Jim.
Okay,
it's all automated.
That's actually kind of news, because all these people are like, "Hey, ask the mayor, the guy didn't turn the pumps on."
It's so ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing, and you hear it every storm, Jim. It's all automated. We're sitting ready right now, and the skies are perfectly clear. We're at the ready. If it suddenly rained 5 inches right now, we'd be ready with every valve open, every pump ready to go. That's how we sit, ready. You think we weren't ready when we knew a 5-inch storm was coming? Of course we were ready. We had everything working to 100% capacity. There's nothing we could have done.
So there's two things going on here, and this segment is mostly about water and about rain. One of the things is, it's odd that we're talking about water and excess water and rainwater, because at the same time, water is actually one of our biggest resources right now. In other words, too much water is obviously a problem for everybody, but water from the Hammond Water Department is really in demand from other communities.
Oh, yeah.
You're making decent money on it, and you can probably give it to more people if they build the pipes.
Well, yeah, we are facing a limitation problem. We're actually, in the summertime, we're tapped out. We have a little bit room left, and believe it or not, this is not talked about publicly. Crown Point and Hammond have been talking for the better part of a year now about if we could possibly get Hammond water down to Crown Point. And
that would change the city.
Oh, man.
Because that is one of the issues there.
Oh, yeah.
It is the main issue if you want to move to Crown Point.
I agree with you, Jim. The water, so in Hammond, you're paying about $2 for 1,000 gallons of water. In Crown Point, you're paying 5 times that. So their water bill would be $300-400 a month in Crown Point, just the water.
Does the infrastructure exist to send water to Crown Point, or you'd have to build some?
We'd have to build lift station, transfer stations, things like that, and we'd also be really close capacity-wise. So we're looking at things that we could do, and it's a real difficult problem, just if we could even get it there. And if we have enough capacity to bring them on, if all those things lined up, then we could talk about moving forward. But yeah, Crown Point, Mayor Land's a great mayor. He's been looking at ways to try to help his residents, so he came to me, and we're looking at it, because I think Crown Point and Hammond are like sister cities. Michigan City too. There's certain cities in the region I feel like Hammond is close to. Crown Point's definitely one of them to me. So is Michigan City. I love Mayor Angie. I love Michigan City. I think it's great. It reminds me a lot of Hammond,
So to concentrate on water, it's not just storm water. It's also selling drinking quality water. By the way, you know where I'm going tomorrow? I'm going to meet Dave Dabberton and swim off the Hammond Marina. He swims to the wall and back like most mornings.
You're swimming with him?
Well, I'm not going to swim.
I'll go with you. I'm swimming in the triathlon on Sunday.
I'm not. Believe me, I already told him. I will go halfway and turn around.
Nice.
So I didn't realize that all the way inside that break wall, where the
you're talking Lake Michigan. Right?
Yeah, Lake Michigan.
Yeah, that's where Dave
I
swims.
didn't realize. He goes, well, it's only about 3 feet deep.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not 3 feet deep everywhere
I should go out there.
in that basin. And I'm like, once you get close to the break wall, there's all sorts of rip currents. He goes, yeah, I get a little bit away from it and I turn around. I go, so you don't even stop and rest? He's like, no, I turn around and this. So he talked me into it. I'm going to go halfway and turn around.
I didn't know you were a swimmer.
I'm not. I'm right here. The Hammond Y has kind of changed my, workout life because
Do you swim now?
I go there and swim. But
Dude,
the
that's what I do.
part of the problem is, I go there early in the morning and I can get a lane. But if you go there anytime after like 7, you're sharing a lane with some dude who's
Totally
got
sucks.
bad eyesight and he's always bumping into you. It's a great thing. It's a little bit crowded, more than I would have ever expected.
Yeah.
But in a good way. They have the old. I got this on right now. The old people weights where you can do the circuit, and then and you can go swimming, but you kind of got to time it because there is so much demand. I don't know where all these people are coming from. All these kids are in there all summer. Luckily, school went back. Otherwise, the Y was almost unusable because
Patrick went back to Purdue yesterday.
So, anyways, now let's talk about that. Do you have anything else you want to address about what happened in Hammond during these recent storms?
I think the most important thing I could have done yesterday morning, which is why we put it out, is explain to people that everything was working perfectly. We did everything the way we had to do it, and we just got way too much water. And you're going to have storms like that, unfortunately. And we had one. And when that happens, the water backs up, and it's unfortunate that it causes damage. I feel horrible. That's obviously the last thing we ever want to see. But when you just if you do 8 inches of rain across our entire service territory, it's hundreds of millions of gallons that came to Hammond all at once. And when you have that, it's like dumping a barrel full of water into a bathtub. It backs up.
One political question.
Sure.
Last night.
I'm not offended by political questions.
Just don't use the F-bomb when you start talking about it. The Texas legislature basically is approving gerrymandering to get 5 more Republican seats. It looks like the Republican Party wants the next stop to be Indiana, and specifically this district right here, to turn this district from Democrat to Republican by redrawing the lines. What's your thoughts on this?
It's cheating, but it is what it is. They could do it. It's illegal. You could do it. It's never been done before, but now we're doing it. It's no good for... I think what we need in D.C. and what we need in Indianapolis is more Republicans and Democrats working together instead of screwing each other over, and this just continues the game. It's not going to be any... Because California is sitting there ready to do it there, too. And then you'll have Illinois thinking about it, and they're going to gerrymander all the Republican reps out of those states. And then I think it's no good, but there's nothing we could do about it. It's not illegal. It's just unethical, in my opinion. I'm not, and it's funny, Jim, I think I said this to you last time I was here. I'm not on the roller coaster. This is what America voted for. I'm very content. I'm just sitting here in Hammond trying to do my job, and I'm not riding the national roller coaster. I'm not outraged. I'm not super mad every day. I'm just living my life right now because there's nothing you could do about it. So with me, I think Trump's a big jerk personally. I didn't say what I wanted to say. I think he's a big jerk, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I just sit in Hammond City Hall and I do my job, and I'm going to wait until the next elections. And when we have the next elections, I'm going to do what I do and try to change things. So,
what changed in you?
There's nothing you can do about it. I'm in therapy, which is nice. I think that helps. I think it helps me deal with the world differently. I've been doing it for about a year now. I think it helps a lot, and I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe it's me just getting older. I'm a grandpa now. Maybe it's just I just don't want to be outraged all the time. I see all my friends and all these people on social media, and they're just outraged. Everything's an outrage. The Republicans are outraged. The Democrats are outraged. I'm not outraged. I'm just sitting here running Hammond. I'm just trying to live my life, man. And then I'm going to be involved next time the elections come around, I promise you. But right now, there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm just trying to live life and be cool. Listen to the dead.
I mean,
You got me into the Dead big time, by the way. I was always into the Dead, but you got me bigger into the Dead by giving me tickets to an awesome Chicago concert. That was a long time ago. And
that was not a quid pro quo. That
No,
was
no,
he gave me tickets, so
Yes.
we were
I'm
even.
sorry,
on
I'm
it.
not trying to bust you out.
But I did. I
Yeah.
gave them to my Mike Forite.
Yes,
And
you gave it to Mike
it
Forite.
is
Mike
a very interesting because I'm like, hey, Mike, how'd it go? Oh yeah, I took the mayor. Oh, okay, great. Where'd you park? I parked at 31st
Yeah,
Street.
dude.
We walked all the way in, and I'm like, I've done that.
Yeah.
But I get off at 31st and pull my bike out of the back
Yeah,
and then ride
that's
the
great.
bike in. I
That's
go,
smart.
do you know how far that walk
You park
is?
at 31st? Do you have a... Yeah, because I
I
was
don't
talking
know.
about...
My wife knew somebody, and we had some sort of a sticker.
Well, you know, 4-8 used to have a place at 31st.
Yeah.
That's why he parked there. Because we would park there because he had his boat there. But, you know, 31st Street's a turnaround point for the run this weekend. I have to run from basically Grant Park to 31st Street, turn around, and then go back to Grant Park.
And how far is it? Is that the
6 miles?
Oh,
the end
that's
of
6
it.
miles. I ran the 13.1, the half marathon.
Ouch.
And that stretch when they close Lakeshore Drive, you know, oh, this should be beautiful, but it's also the last stretch when you're not in that great a shape to run it. Hey, listen, I asked the mayor to come in, and we talked. He wanted to come in too and talk about the flooding that has been going on in parts of Hammond and parts of the entire Calumet region. Officially, the number was 8.2 inches in 24 hours. One guy sent me some stuff, and evidently that's some sort of record for Robertsdale. And a lot of people are hurting right now, and we understand that. But the news there is that the mayor is saying that, you know, they did what they, it wasn't like somebody forgot to put pumps on or that something was done wrong in the city of Hammond or city of Whiting or anything. It's just too much rain, and that sums up that whole thing. Anything else you want to mention?
I mean, no, obviously I feel horrible about what people are experiencing right now. I've experienced myself. Basement backups are no fun. You have to throw all your stuff away. It's just horrifying. It's horrifying for me as mayor. Anytime this happens, it's, you know, anytime there's violent crime, it's a bad day. When there's a flood, it affects so many people. It's just the worst thing that could happen when you're the mayor. I just want you to know I feel horrible. We all feel horrible. But I'm also, there's nobody that's to blame. Mother Nature. That's who we have to blame. We have to deal with what she throws our way, and she threw a mess our way. So I'm really sorry about everything.
Let's end it right there. Thanks a lot
Thanks,
for
man.
coming
Good to
in.
see you, Jim.
We'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region. Whoa, there you go. Excellent. AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the Calumet region. I'm Jim Dedelow, host and sometimes host. Tomorrow it's going to be Brent Brazier and Bob Starkey. Tomorrow is the beginning of our football season, and please download the JED TV app. And I think we're having 9 high school football games on. It is just amazing how it has grown, and I can't do the morning show and get everything done that needs to be done. So Brent Brazier is going to be on Starkey. He's got a whole bunch of people he's got to move through. Let's see how he does that. And I also want to mention that I need to adjust you just a little bit, John Doherty. There
Thank
you go.
you.
Right there. Okay.
All right.
And then I'm looking at the most recent things here. But Tom Dabberton next Wednesday will be having Lonnie Randolph and Dan Durnell on. And I think I know who's on tomorrow with Brent Brazier, but I don't know if he's confirmed it. But he's got some names. And he's got, I think, 4 guests he's got to churn through. So let's see how it goes with Brazier and Starkey. Starkey, of course, elected councilman in Dyer. And Brent Brazier runs docks in Dyer. And it takes a village, including my guest here that I'm going to bring in a second, to run a local radio station. Now, today is the first day of PNW Today back, right? Is that right, Lynette? No, they're not coming back yet? Next week? Wait, the show, though. Does the show start today or does it start next Thursday? I don't know, but people are coming, so we'll find out. I see people in the parking lot. We may have to go to that show, so we'll see. If people start coming in, point that out to me, please. Let's take a look at what's going on the traffic, and that is 294 around the city. Looks good, but the Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan all of a sudden got really bad. So if you're going up the Bishop Ford and then going to the Dan Ryan, it basically backed up off and on all the way from the top of the Steel Bridge to downtown. I don't know what happened, but that's how it is. Let me give you some more. Skyway and the toll road look okay, but the westbound Borman, that is going from Indiana into Illinois, is backed up all the way from an accident at Indianapolis Boulevard. So right here, just a couple blocks away from where I'm sitting along Indianapolis and the Borman. And it's backed up all the way to Broadway. So major backups on the Borman westbound and then on the Bishop Ford Dan Ryan going into the city. Luckily, it looks like they finished overnight road work where they closed the Borman at Ripley Street in, I guess that would be Lake Station area. And that was backed up all the way back, most of the way to Michigan City coming this way, and then backed up all the way to I-65 going that way. So I guess people are closing roads and trying to finish up some major construction, but they have to demolish that bridge there near Ripley Street. And then they got to demolish the bridge, you got to close the road, or big boulders are going to fall on people's front windshields, and you cannot have that. Can you do weather, or you want me to do it? I'll do it, okay. Lynette is, for the very first time, on her own right there. She's
Wonderful.
doing a great job, right? And Adriana Alvarez texted me this morning. She goes, I'm just going to come in a little later. Let's see if Lynette can handle it. And
So far, so good.
So far, so good. High of 75 today. Right now, it's 63 degrees along the Borman, and it is 65 degrees at Electricians 697, and that's in Maryville, and it is 65 degrees at Plumbers 210, which is also in Maryville. Thanks a lot to the Plumbers. They've signed on. They'll be on. You'll notice that when we have the 9 football games on Friday night, you'll see the Plumbers ad and Electricians. You'll see all the various unions. I want to say thank you to the trades that signed on and made it possible for us to put that many kids on TV. Mostly sunny and humid today, and a high of 75 tomorrow, high of 81, sunshine mixing with some clouds, and then Saturday, partly sunny and humid, high of 82. John Doherty is here. John, how you been?
Terrific. How are you, Jed?
I want to first congratulate you on a major milestone, and that you have made it 40 years as a columnist with the Times. Way to go, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's partly thanks to you, because we thought we were going to be stopped at 39 and a half.
You know what? If by you saying that, the next person that has problems going to come up, hey, Jed, do you think you could talk to this person and see if you could move that around? Trust me. There is a little capital out there I can use, and I will use it for my good friend John Doherty, as it looked like his column was going to stop at 39 and a half. We had some rather terse conversations, and he is continuing on, and they're actually using your columns even more now in other areas and so forth. So
Seems
congratulations.
like it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
So just remind people what you write about and tell us how it started.
I write about sports medicine once a week. 40 years ago, and I'm having lunch with him today, by the way, Paul Mullaney, the president of Bishop Knoll. Paul was the assistant sports editor at the Times 40 years ago. He and I had attended Notre Dame together. I graduated from physical therapy school and started working at the Hammond Clinic. And Paul knew that I could write. I had a background as a sports writer from my hometown. So in January, when I moved here, January '85, he started sending me out covering games, high school games in Illinois. And
which I wouldn't wish on anybody. I did that, by the way.
So,
anyways, go ahead.
It's May or June. He says, we used to have this column called Dr. Jock, and I thought it was pretty good, but it stopped a year ago. Do you think you could pick it back up and start writing a column on sports medicine? I don't know. Maybe I could. Maybe I couldn't. So we continued to talk, and I said, okay, I think I can do it, but I'll probably run out of ideas in about 2 years. He said, well, let's give it a try. So my first column ran in August of '85. It's been going ever since.
What date?
August 6th, August 7th, something like that. And it just every week ever since.
Didn't
run out of ideas.
I would have never predicted, that you could do that long, and I read it religiously like a lot of people do. Part of it is it's just you, and if somebody's ever seen you for physical therapy or anything like that, they're like, oh, I'll read this thing. But the paper has really declined in terms of print. Certainly the digital, that I imagine most of people read your thing digitally. But that is a major accomplishment, just to go 40 years. And we didn't think you were going to get there. And I just can't.
I didn't think I was going to. Seriously, I thought 2 years I'll run out of stuff to write about. There's still stuff out there. There's more for me to write about than there's space. So.
Oh, there's way more.
Yeah.
And you came out with one. Well, let's just talk about a couple of recent ones. And if you have any questions in that field, or you want to congratulate John Doherty, you can do it right now, because Chancellor Holford just walked in. That means PNW is today. Today is today, so we will end on time. Typically, I don't mind stretching it if it's like, sports with Rick Costello. But when Chancellor Holford, my landlord, comes in, I got to say, let's do this on time.
Absolutely.
What exactly is a knowledge to practice gap?
It's a shocking thing. It was actually kind of triggered by something I wrote for another publication, an athletic training publication, just in the last month. The knowledge to practice gap is research determines that something is the best way to, you have a new treatment thanks to research, or you have a new technique thanks to new equipment in medicine. And you would think as soon as people find out about it, it would spread across the country. Well, it spreads across the country pretty slowly. It takes 17 years on average, from the time something is discovered, be it a cure, a medication, a new technique. On average in medicine, it takes 17 years from the time it is discovered to the time it becomes regular practice in medicine nationwide.
So let's look at the concussion thing, because if you're in, athletic directors going to school, they should have been there a long time ago. But if you're an athletic director and you're going to school right now and you think of John Doherty, you think of concussions. I mean, that's what you kind of made your name on. And I tell the story of about I would say it was about 15. Whenever you left private practice and went with community, and now it's
thought I was
Powers.
nuts.
And I told you, I go, man, I don't know what you were treating for me. I had all sorts of maladies. And I'm like, why would you do that, man? I mean, you have a thriving practice here. And I remember you said, hey, you know what? You're very passionate about concussions and the dangers, and that you thought you could make a dent in getting education out there and treatment. Have you done that?
I think I have, yeah. All the schools in Northwest Indiana have some kind of almost all the schools have some kind of baseline concussion testing program. There are a number of concussion clinics in Northwest Indiana, not the least of which is ours at Community, which I have no doubt is the best. And that concussion clinic is busy. Now, the funny thing is, our concussion clinic at Community, we see lots and lots of athletes. We see way more non-athletes. When we started, it was all athletes, and now it's all sorts of concussions, which is really the way it should have been anyway. So
we're going into two of the highest concussion sports right now.
Right.
You don't realize it, but soccer is very high
Yeah.
on that list also, if not at the top at times. And of
girls
course,
soccer in particular really rivals football.
Why?
The girls have weaker necks than the guys.
Really?
Yeah.
So heading the ball, two people
it's
going.
it's heading the ball and two people going for a ball and colliding head to head.
And then you have football going on right now.
Right.
So we're doing 9 games tomorrow.
Right.
Believe it or not, I don't know how this happened, but it went.
That's great.
Last year, I think we had 3 on the first Friday, and now we got 9. Part of that is partnerships with Regional Radio Sports Network and Paul Condry, who is another legend in the field. And I called him yesterday to talk I had like 2 or 3 minutes to talk, and it took 32 or 33 minutes because he can't stop talking about football and how excited he is. Kind of like you can't stop talking about certain issues like concussions and knee injuries and stuff. But we're going into that season, and I'll be here on Friday, but sometimes I'll walk the sidelines and so forth. And it seems like when someone takes a big hit and they come over, the first thing is especially if it's like the star running back or the linebacker or whatever, the coach is like, just on edge, like, oh my gosh, is this a concussion? Let's do the testing. But behind their back, they're crossing their fingers that that's not the case.
That's not what it is, right?
And I'm not saying that people fudge the numbers, but certainly people are wary of having the doctor coming over and pulling your guy out.
The thing that I learned on the sideline my last 15 years, probably longer, was the kid who was trying to avoid me after he came off the field, clearly there was something wrong. If a kid was trying to get away from me, then I knew it was a kid I had to go after. Because usually kids come off the field, they come right up to you, and they're happy with how a play went. Kid comes off the field and wants no part of the athletic training, then something's up.
So if they come running off the field and they see you standing there, and then they veer to the right to get 20 players down from you, then it's like, hey, get over here, Jeremy.
Red flag.
We're going to talk here. Yeah. We're going to do the test. What is the test?
Well, it's something that takes time. Sometimes it doesn't take any time. If a kid's standing there woozy and he can't get his eyes straight and he's staggered, then it takes 10 seconds. That kid has a concussion. Now, another kid who took a big hit and got up slow, but he gets to the sideline now and he says he's perfectly fine and there was nothing wrong, but you still have a suspicion. That sideline test takes 10 to 15 minutes, where you're going through a symptom checklist, you're checking how his eyes work, you're checking his balance, all those tests. Then you do some exertional tests. All those things take time. And it takes 10 to 15 minutes to do a proper sideline test to be relatively confident that they have not had a concussion. Having said that, I've done it on the sideline, and the next day the kids come to me and said, the next day I've got a miserable headache. And now you know it. In fact, your suspicion was correct.
So there's two different interests here. I mean, your main interest is do no harm, and let's make sure that the kid's okay and that there isn't any sort of brain injury. And then you have the head coach who wants to win the game.
Right.
Those are competing interests.
They can be.
And have we raised awareness about the long-term effects of concussions enough to manage that dichotomy of interests?
No, and I don't think we ever will.
Well, what does that mean?
There will always be the motivation on the part of coaches and players to continue playing and not have to come off the field. They want to win. And coaches want to win, players want to win, and players don't want to lose their job. So that's the issue. And I would say 4 out of 5 concussions that occur in a game or practice, we generally never find out about. The kid, if the symptoms are relatively minor and they clear very quickly, the athlete, whether it's a high school kid or a college player or a pro, they don't say a word.
One other column you wrote was about Ryan Sandberg, outstanding. You talked about cancer. Obviously just about anybody who's listening has had some sort of cancer in their family, but it was pretty simple. I think the title might have been Ryan Sandberg, Cancer Does Not Discriminate. Why did you write that column?
Because of really what happened with him. There's a guy who seemed perfectly healthy and gets prostate cancer, and I think a lot of people out there assume prostate cancer it's not like lung cancer, it's not going to kill you. Well, that's true if you're an 80-year-old. If you're an 80-year-old and you get prostate cancer, you'll die with prostate cancer, you won't die from it. But when you're a 60-year-old and you get prostate cancer, it can be, and your body's producing a good amount of testosterone still, and that's what prostate cancer feeds on. It can kill you relatively quickly, and that's what happened with Sandberg.
That is counterintuitive, like much of baseball. Yeah. Other than the only thing that's not counterintuitive in baseball, I think Shambi said it yesterday, is that the harder you throw it, the harder it is to hit. Other than that, there's all sorts of things that work backwards. The average person would say, hey, you're 80 years old and you get prostate cancer, you're probably going to die from it. No. But that's not the case.
Yeah, it's as Dr. Wilkes in my column said, prostate cancer in an 80-year-old is a toothless tiger. You need to address it, but you don't need to worry about it a whole lot.
He's John Doherty, 40 years writing for the Times and going strong and coming on here and discussing some issues in sports medicine. If you're catching this later, this was recorded on August 21st of 2025. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I want to say one more thing. Please pay attention to my column this week. Guardian caps do not work. Those helmet add-ons. The NFL released a study. They did it very quietly. There was no press release. And their own study showed, despite what they thought, the Guardian caps don't prevent concussion.
Oh, that is so odd because you're watching all of this exhibition and practices.
They all have them on.
They all have them on.
And the NFL has been saying, well, since we started wearing Guardian caps, concussions have gone down 50% in practice. They may have gone down 50% in practice, but their own study that they released on July 2nd with no press releases, no announcement, showed that the Guardian cap isn't the reason concussions have gone down in practice. They've gone down in practice because they don't hit as much.
He's John Doherty. Up next, PNW Today. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Please take me far away. Feel the wind blow outside my door. Leave my baby behind. I don't know, oh, where I'm going. I just want to be